This message is issued by the Emergency Coordination Center. Please listen closely and follow the instructions. This is not a drill. We are advising all residents to monitor their domestic cats for unusual behavioral patterns and to keep dogs indoors until further notice. Over the past 72 hours, we have received an unprecedented number of reports regarding domestic feline behavior that deviates significantly from normal patterns. These reports began Thursday evening at approximately 6:47 p.m. with a call from Millbrook Avenue. What initially appeared to be isolated incidents of pet behavioral issues has developed into a pattern that requires immediate public attention. The first reports described cats exhibiting sudden changes in routine behavior. Owners noted their pets abandoning typical resting spots, refusing familiar foods, and displaying what witnesses described as awareness of something we couldn't see. These initial reports seemed minor, perhaps attributable to seasonal changes or environmental factors. However, the consistency of reports across different neighborhoods, combined with the specific nature of the behavioral changes, has prompted this coordinated response. Multiple veterinary clinics reported receiving calls about cats that appeared healthy physically but were displaying extreme anxiety responses. Dr. Martinez at Oakwood Animal Hospital noted that these cats showed elevated stress indicators despite no apparent medical cause. The animals appeared to be responding to stimuli that humans could not detect. Most significantly, these behavioral changes were occurring simultaneously across different locations, suggesting a coordinated trigger rather than individual incidents. A woman in Pine Hollow first noticed something wrong when her usually social tabby cat, Whiskers, began hiding under the bed Thursday night. She said the cat seemed to be watching something near the ceiling corner of her bedroom, following movement that she couldn't see. His eyes were tracking something back and forth, like he was watching a tennis match, but there was nothing there, she explained to dispatchers. When she tried to coax the cat out, he hissed at her for the first time in 8 years of ownership. More disturbing was what happened when her neighbor's golden retriever came for its usual visit Friday morning. The dog immediately began barking aggressively at Whiskers, despite the animals being longtime companions. The dog's owner described the behavior as protective, like he was trying to warn us about something. Later that night, more calls came in from Sycamore Street. A family reported their 3 cats had positioned themselves at different windows throughout their house, all staring outward in the same direction. The cats maintained these positions for over 4 hours, refusing food or interaction. When the family's youngest daughter approached one of the cats, the animal turned toward her with what the father described as completely black eyes, like someone had painted over them. The family dog began whimpering and pawing at the front door, attempting to leave the house. Security footage from their doorbell camera showed the cats moving in perfect synchronization, turning their heads at identical moments despite being in separate rooms. In another case from Riverside Drive, an elderly man called emergency services when his Persian cat began making sounds he'd never heard before. He described them as almost like talking, but in a language that made my skin crawl. The cat was sitting in front of a mirror, appearing to have a conversation with its reflection. When the man's daughter arrived to check on him, she brought her German Shepherd. The dog immediately began growling at the cat and refused to enter the room. The daughter noticed that in the mirror's reflection, the cat appeared to be looking directly at them, even though the actual cat was facing away. When she pointed this out to her father, they realized the reflection didn't match the cat's actual position. A particularly unsettling incident occurred Saturday morning on Elm Street. A jogger reported seeing approximately 15 cats gathered in a perfect circle in Riverside Park. The cats remained motionless for nearly 30 minutes, all facing inward toward the center of their formation. When curious dogs from the neighborhood approached with their owners, the dogs became increasingly agitated, barking and pulling away from the area. One witness described how the cats suddenly dispersed simultaneously, each moving in a different direction as if following predetermined paths. Security cameras in the park captured the gathering but showed significant video distortion during the time the cats were present. The audio track contains sounds that don't correlate with any visible activity. The most concerning report came Saturday evening from a family on Forest Lane. Their kitten, normally playful and affectionate, began exhibiting what they called predatory behavior toward their infant. The cat would position itself near the baby's crib, staring intently at the child for hours. When the parents tried to remove the cat, it would return within minutes. Their border collie, typically calm around the kitten, began showing extreme protective behavior, positioning itself between the cat and baby. The dog refused to leave the nursery and showed signs of exhaustion from maintaining constant vigilance. The family noted that the cat's purring had changed to a lower frequency that seemed to make the baby cry whenever it occurred. We have gathered these common stages that appear to be developing in affected felines. Stage 1 involves disengagement from normal activities and social interaction. During this phase, which typically lasts 12 to 24 hours, cats abandon their usual sleeping locations and feeding schedules. They may appear to be listening to sounds beyond human hearing range. Your cat might position itself in areas of the house it previously avoided, particularly corners or spaces with limited visibility. Stage 2 is characterized by synchronized behavior and apparent awareness of other affected cats in the area. This phase involves cats taking positions at windows or doors, maintaining vigil for extended periods. They may exhibit perfect coordination with other cats in the neighborhood despite having no visible means of communication. During this stage, cats often refuse human interaction entirely and may react aggressively to attempts at normal handling. The duration of this phase varies, but typically lasts 48 to 72 hours. Stage 3 involves what witnesses describe as communication attempts. Cats begin vocalizing in patterns that don't match normal feline communication. These sounds often cause discomfort in humans and trigger protective responses in dogs. Cats may appear to be responding to communication from sources that humans cannot detect. Reflective surfaces seem to play a significant role during this stage, with cats showing intense interest in mirrors, windows, and even water surfaces. The final observed stage involves direct interaction attempts with human family members, particularly children and infants. Affected cats show persistent interest in young family members, exhibiting behavior that their owners describe as unnaturally focused. This behavior triggers immediate protective responses in any dogs present in the household. During this stage, electronic devices in the vicinity often experience interference, particularly audio equipment and baby monitors. If you notice any of these behavioral changes in your cat, do not attempt to handle the animal directly. Dogs appear to possess an innate ability to detect whatever is affecting the cats, and their protective instincts should be trusted completely. Keep dogs indoors, but allow them to maintain their vigilant behavior. Do not separate dogs from the areas they are guarding, as this may leave vulnerable family members unprotected. Remove all reflective surfaces from areas where your cat spends time. This includes mirrors, glass picture frames, and metallic surfaces. Cover or remove these items completely rather than simply turning them away. Several incidents have involved cats using reflective surfaces in ways that suggest coordination with external influences. One family reported that covering mirrors in their home immediately reduced their cat's agitated behavior. Do not leave small children or infants alone in rooms where affected cats have access. Multiple families have reported protective behavior from dogs that prevented concerning interactions between affected cats and young family members. Dogs appear to recognize threats that humans cannot perceive, and their warnings should be taken seriously. If your dog shows persistent protective behavior around your cat, maintain separation until the behavioral episode passes. Avoid direct eye contact with affected cats during stages 3 and 4. Witnesses report that prolonged eye contact during these phases causes escalation in concerning behaviors. If you must interact with your cat during this period, speak calmly but avoid looking directly at the animal. Several pet owners noted that their cat's eyes appeared different during these episodes, with some describing the pupils as completely black or reflecting things that weren't in the room. Do not use electronic recording equipment around affected cats. Multiple attempts to document the unusual vocalizations have resulted in equipment malfunctions and audio files that contain disturbing sounds not heard during the actual recordings. Baby monitors and security cameras in homes with affected cats have captured audio and visual anomalies that do not correspond to observed events. These recordings appear to cause distress in anyone who views or listens to them. Our dispatch centers have received over 300 reports since Thursday evening, with the frequency increasing significantly over the past 24 hours. Dispatchers note that many calls come from families where dogs are showing extreme protective behavior, often providing the first warning that something unusual is occurring with household cats. Several callers have reported that their dogs began showing anxiety and protective behaviors hours before they noticed any changes in their cats. Animal control officers have attempted to respond to gathering sites where multiple cats have been reported. In each case, the cats dispersed before personnel arrived, but environmental readings at these locations show electromagnetic anomalies that persist for several hours after the gatherings end. Soil samples from gathering sites contain mineral compositions that don't match surrounding areas, suggesting some form of environmental influence that we don't yet understand. The pattern is expanding beyond individual households. Entire neighborhoods are reporting simultaneous behavioral changes in cats, while dogs in these same areas show coordinated protective responses. Wildlife officials have noted unusual migration patterns in local bird populations, with most species avoiding areas where cat gatherings have been reported. This suggests that the phenomenon affects multiple species, though cats appear to be the primary vector. Veterinary examinations of affected cats show no medical abnormalities, yet the behavioral changes persist. Blood work, neurological assessments, and physical examinations yield normal results, indicating that whatever is causing these changes operates beyond conventional medical understanding. Most significantly, cats that have progressed through all 4 stages eventually return to normal behavior, but they retain what their owners describe as a different awareness. These cats continue to trigger protective responses in dogs even after their behavior appears to normalize. If your cat is exhibiting any of the described behaviors, maintain constant supervision and trust your dog's instincts completely. Do not dismiss protective behavior from dogs as jealousy or territorial disputes. Multiple families have reported that ignoring their dog's warnings led to escalated situations that required immediate intervention. The coordination between affected cats suggests a level of organization that we are still working to understand. This broadcast will repeat every hour on emergency frequencies until the situation stabilizes. If you observe cat gatherings or synchronized behavior involving multiple animals, do not approach the area. Report the location immediately, but maintain a safe distance. Remember that dogs in your household are your best early warning system for these behavioral anomalies. The silence when the cats stop their unusual behavior is not a sign that the situation has resolved. It means they have moved to the final stage.